Yo, what's going on, you guys? Saeed here, and welcome to the second installment of the Legendary Performers of the Week, where I like to take a look back at the week that was for the Ottawa Senators and determine who were the key contributors in the team's success over that period of time, while also incorporating a little bit of the past in respect to the legends of before. Two things to start off. One, props to Chris Neil. That was an outstanding ceremony put on by the Sens. Well earned by him, getting his jersey hung up in the rafters. That number 25 won't be worn by any other person in this franchise's history going forward. History going forward. Y'all know what I mean. What an unbelievable player, and just completely unselfish. One of the best energy guys of his generation. Phenomenal work that he puts in the community as well. Takes the time with almost everybody just to shake their hand when they approach him and or smile for a picture. He's just an incredible guy on and off the ice, and it's so great to see him succeeding and obviously getting his jersey retired. Congrats to you and your loved ones, Chris. Well earned. Second thing I want to say before I get started, usually I'm wearing a weird hat and I got like a suit with a tie and all that kind of stuff. This is more me, but hopefully this lasts for a while. Ultimately, it's not necessarily up to me. And I'll obviously fill you all in one day about that. But anyways, let's get started. So let's get started with the Kneeler of the Week, since Chris Neil is top of mind at this point. And Kneeler of the Week goes to the guy that comes in and has that positive impact, that much needed momentum shift when the team obviously needs it the most. Sorry about the redundancy there, but you know what I'm trying to say. This one was a tricky one this week because the team's been playing so well. So there hasn't really been a need for somebody to, kind of flip the script on people and infuse the team, the roster, with some sort of an energy boost of sorts. So in that sense, it's been a bit tricky to identify a Kneeler of the Week. And I contemplated on not having one this week, but can't do that to Kneeler, especially in the week that he gets his jersey up in the rafters. I gotta get some guy in there. I gotta give a guy on the team that distinction. So I figured, you know what? There is a guy that has throughout the year displayed awesome maturity on the ice despite his young age. That has contributed offensively. He's been on a bit of a rut for a little while. Rut's probably not the best word because he's been playing well and responsibly in all three zones, just hasn't been producing like he was to start the year. This guy, who I'm going to give the Kneeler of the Week distinction to this week, contributed offensively, finally getting back on with regularity, back on the score sheet. A couple goals, a couple assists, including I think a goal today. Today being the game against the Blues, which was extremely entertaining if you're a Sens fan, and pretty rough if you're a Blues fan. 2 goals, 2 assists. This guy's really starting to heat up, especially after the All-Star break. Just an important contributor, and in the sense that every good team needs that second layer of offense to come in, and to come in consistently, ideally. But when they can't be consistent, contribute when it's needed most. And I think ultimately this guy's contributions came at times when the team was scoring, but it adds that pressure to the opposition, knowing that they've got to deal with 3 lines as opposed to the top 2 lines, for example, in this case. This week's Kneeler of the Week is going to go to a guy who certainly contributed, did his part, took on the tough matchups, even at his young age. He's obviously shown that he's a pretty unique player in that sense, being able to take on tough matchups, but having the physicality and the mentality and the hockey IQ to do that, take on the opposition. But yeah, for his efforts, 2 goals, 2 assists this week, 4 games played over that. It's going to go to Shane Pinto, this week's Kneeler of the Week. And I think this is going to be a guy who's going to probably be in contention for a lot of these going forward. He just plays the game the right way. He doesn't play the game particularly rambunctious, like Kneeler is known for, but he influences the game in his own way. He influences the game by killing a play at the defensive end, by making himself available to his defenseman in transition, parking himself in front of the net, parking himself in the slot, taking on punishment when necessary, engaging in puck battles, coming out on top in most of those puck battles. He's just done his job, and he's been doing it consistently from day one. You gotta love it. You got to love that. And so for his efforts, Shane Pinto, you are getting the Kneeler of the Week distinction. Congratulations, young man. Second distinction is going to go to the Big Rig Award. Not award. I want to say distinction. The Big Rig of the Week. There's no really awards in this whole thing. Big Rig of the Week goes to the guy who just was the best stay-at-home defenseman. Essentially, consistent, tough matchups against the team's best players. Played tough, played brutally tough at times. It was almost like you're watching, a linebacker and a couple linebackers go at it when this guy's on the ice at times, because it's completely and totally physical punishment for the opposition. And it's really, it's great to see if you're a fan of this team. I have a soft spot for guys who play rough, this guy is going to be obviously one that fits the bill. It's just the way he plays. We missed him for a while because he was away on injury, but he's returning. Since he's been returning, the team's been playing very well for the most part, but especially these past week and a half, 2 weeks, and like prior to the All-Star break. And it's obviously great to see, and I think he has a lot to do with it because he is consistently matched up against the team's toughest players. So the guy that gets the Big Rig of the Week this week is going to go to one and only Zub. And honestly, just watch this guy play. He can play it any way you want. I'm pretty sure he's got some, untapped offensive game to him as well. But obviously, we have a couple guys there in that decor that can handle those types of responsibilities in Chabot and Sanderson and Brandstrom. So he just plays his role, and he is a tough guy to play against. And he's really good on transition D, which I think is, probably the single most important element for a defenseman's game in today's game. When you got the Connor McDavids of the world and the Nathan McKinnons of the world rushing in on you, and then Tim Stützle. But in this case, obviously, we got that guy on our team, so Zub, you ain't got to worry about him. But congrats, Zub, you are this week's Big Rig of the Week. Next one, we'll go back to another defenseman, and we will go to the Reds of the Week. And again, I keep saying I got to find a better nickname for this, but this is inspired by Wade Redden, and I think Reds is what they call them, they being his teammates. And this is going to go to the guy who just performed at a high level consistently throughout the week. Moved pucks, produced essentially a one-man breakout on a consistent basis. And there's a couple of guys that I thought were eligible for this one. One being Brandstrom, who is looking like more and more like the guy that a lot of us thought we were going to get earlier on in his development. Will he ever become that prolific point producer? Maybe not. At least maybe not with this team, just because opportunities are going to go to Chabot and Sanderson. But we're seeing an element of we're just seeing more confidence come out of this guy in Sanderson's absence, and that's expected because he's been given more of the load to shoulder on his own. And I think he's that type of guy he is that type, because coming out in his junior years prior to turning pro, he always was one of the go-to guys, and I think he's one of those guys that likes to get he likes the pressure. And he likes to be used in a pivotal role, I guess. And when you put him on the when you put him in the bottom pair, you're kind of limiting his effectiveness. But again, it is what it is, and you got to earn your time. And he's definitely done that, and he's definitely earned this opportunity to be to move up in the lineup in Sandy's absence. And by the way, get well soon, Jake. We're all missing you. Part of the Sirens. But yeah, he came close. I was actually thinking about choosing him for this week's Reds of the Week, but I went with Shabby. And I went with Shabby, even though I know consistency is one of the pillars of this distinction, but he had probably one game that was a little tough. I think the Twitter sphere was all up in arms about it. We all know which one it was. It was the game against the Blackhawks, excuse me. And nobody really was that good in that game. I shouldn't say nobody, but a lot of people were underperforming. anytime you lose focus on the game, anytime you just turn it off for a split second, you get a Patrick Kane shorthanded, you get a shorthanded goal on it. You get Kane scoring goals on you. It's unfortunate because they had such awesome momentum going in, and you would think that they were going to be able to take advantage of a team that's sitting that low in the standings. But we got to keep in mind the Sens, though they're making this push right now, pardon me, they're not, God forbid they go on another losing streak, but they're not that far off from those other teams, the Blackhawks of the world and the Habs and all that kind of stuff. So here's hoping that they continue on winning. But aside from that Blackhawks game, Shabby has been awesome. He's essentially a one-man breakout, and it's great to see. He is so underappreciated. I understand that there are criticisms that are warranted. I get it. And I am. It's no secret. I am a huge fan of this guy. He's probably one of my. He's definitely one of my favorite defenders, but he's one of my favorite Senators as well, obviously. So I do have a soft spot for him. But with that being said, we're talking about a guy that can pretty much play the game any way you want, aside from being like a massive kind of physical force out there. Though he had a pretty good hit today. I forgot who it was against, but I said against Barbashev. I can't remember. Nonetheless, 4 games played this past week. He got 2 assists. He was a +3. He was just, in my opinion, the most effective puck mover from the back end. And that goes a long way for earning this distinction. So for that, Shabby, I believe you're going back-to-back, well-earned, back-to-back Reds of the Week distinction. And then finally, last but very much not least, the Alfie of the Week. Really, Alfie was an offensive machine. So it goes without saying that whoever gets this distinction has to be the guy that is really carrying the mail for everybody on this team, putting the team on his back. The first ever Alfie of the Week distinction went to Claude Giroux because he had a monster week where he was just, it seemed like, scoring every single game. And he's still been extremely productive since, but it was between 2 guys this week, and he was not one of them. Brady being one. Brady's going to have a ton of these awards, I'm sure. One day, he's going to just get on a string, and I'm just going to be saying his name every video. He is my favorite player in the league right now. And a very, 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 very close second is going to be the guy who I have deemed the Alfie of the Week, and that is Tim Stützle. Supernova. We got one, and it's great because for a while there, we had Erik Karlsson and we were spoiled by his greatness. And honestly, you look back at some of his highlights and you look at his stats and you're just kind of like, what on earth was that? He defined a generation of young puck movers and inspired them as well. Would we have a Cale Makar in this league if it wasn't for Karlsson's effect in games and just prolificness? Great players find a way to get in the league, so I'm kind of saying that tongue-in-cheek, but certainly Makar has some inspiration of Erik Karlsson, Adam Fox, the best of the best. Hedman came in with Karlsson, so you can't say that, but he just influenced so many young guys. We've had superstars in the past. I wonder sometimes, was Erik Karlsson panned a superstar prior to his trade to San Jose? Because Ottawa was always getting like a little bit of shade from the national media and subsequently from the States. He was a superstar to us, but I'm trying to say, like, did he really get his, much deserved shine on the national stage? I'm not sure. 2 Norrises will give you that, but at the same time, it just almost felt like, I don't know. He could have got more. Probably should have got more. But I digress. Stützle, whether he gets it or not, he's just going to basically force his way to get that attention that he's deserving. He's deserving right now as a 21-year-old. Could you just imagine what this guy's going to be at the age of 24, 25? He's breaking games open routinely. Matter of fact, he's breaking games open shift by shift. And there's so few guys out there that could do that. I mean, Nathan MacKinnon a couple years ago was just he's galloping on the ice, and just essentially, I mean, he's going through entire teams by himself. Obviously, we know Connor McDavid. Obviously, Leon Draisaitl, Matthews. Even, I mean, this guy is phenomenal. Is Stützle at this level yet? No, but I think he's going to get there. And here's the thing: I thought that he was going to be great. I think we all did, but this seems way ahead of schedule. I'm not complaining. Timmy, keep doing your thing, man. You're bringing so much joy to those who love watching you and the team. You have earned this week's Alfie of the Week distinction, and I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of those coming in your future. Keep doing your thing, young man. I appreciate it. We all love it. And that's it. I mean, that's all I've got this week for the Legendary Performers of the Week. Sorry that it's a bit different. Sorry that I'm not wearing my usual get-up. And I don't know if I should be apologizing, because I'm pretty sure whoever watches this probably like, you know what, ditch that. But again, there's a reason for everything, along with the reason why this extremely well-produced set and production that you're watching here is the way it is, and why I started doing these things. But that'll all come out in due time. For now, I say thank you so much for watching. Got nothing but love for all 3 or 4 of you that are watching. Again, I will try and do another one of these videos when the time is right, and time permits, and I'm able to sit down for at least 20 minutes and put something together. But in the meantime, me, I'll always be tweeting about the Sens. I wanted to do this one thing, actually. I don't know how I'm going to, I'm also going to actually add one more thing, and it's going to be the Twitter follow of the week. Okay. And this is going to go to the Sens Twitter, the Sens Twitterer? I don't know what I'm trying to say. But anyways, the Sens Twitter account that I have the most, that gives me the most laughs or the most enjoyment for the week. And this week's is going to go to Julio Hashem, I think his name is. And I apologize, bro, if I got it wrong. But this dude makes me laugh all the time. I'm continuously sharing his stuff because he's so hilarious. Follow him if you haven't already. He is this week's Twitter follow of the week. I'll figure something out. I'll figure a distinction of the week for that as well. But I mean, you gotta share that type of humor. You gotta share that type of positivity, and I'm all for it. So I'm gonna get his name. I'll make sure to link him underneath somehow of this video. But yeah, that's all I got. Again, very well produced, as you can tell. But hopefully next week I can keep up that bar. Anyways, I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed soon. But thank you so much for watching. Much love. Peace. Go Sens, go.